Hi ladies, I hope you all are doing well. It's nice to see you again. My name is Sharda and today I'm going to be talking about how I stopped wearing makeup and why I stopped wearing makeup, because sometimes I get these messages that oh, you're trying to force people to do this, or we don't really have to do this. And that's a different topic altogether, because I feel as a Christian, if you're doing it right, you are going to eventually have a similar conviction to the one that I have experienced. But, you know, it's all up to you what you want to do with yourself and your life according to what the scriptures say. I'm going to do what I feel the Lord wants me to do and what I feel the Lord commands everyone to do. But again, we'll not get into that part. So, this journey of not wearing makeup and all these accessories really began when I first started coming to the Lord. As you guys know, I'm Christian. Well, I'd say I'm a follower of Christ. And I just do what the Bible says. And if you haven't seen my testimonies, you could check the previous videos that I did in my uploads. So it all started around that time when I was still in college. At that time, I was pursuing a Bachelor of Science in biochemistry. So I had lots of majors and minors, including human and social biology, microbiology, a whole lot of chemistry, physics, all the sciences kind of combined into one. And it was pretty exciting for me because, I was into sciences, okay? So I did a lot of work with raw materials. I know the state, I know the compounds, and I worked with those things. I did a lot of titrations and a lot of investigation into um, uh, chemical analysis of different materials. And as I was being called to serve the Lord and to know Him a lot better, I started to have this realization, I should say, that about pretty much everything that I was doing, what I was wearing, what I was thinking, how I felt about other people, everything sort of started to crumble and change for the better, though I didn't understand it at that point. And a lot of you that are new to following Christ may be going through this at the moment. I promise you it gets better, but your trouble in the world also increases. So it's kind of a win-win situation when it comes to that. Anyway, I one day I went to class and we were discussing precautionary methods when dealing with these chemicals that we were going to be handling. I started to realize that my my work in the chemical industry, the biochemical industry, would pretty much shorten the expanse of my life. If you're not doing things correctly, you tend to either burn yourself or poison yourself sometimes. Um, Inhale a lot of fumes and chemicals and different things. So I got the realization about that it wasn't gonna be a very enjoyable thing to do for the rest of my life. And I also started to notice that a lot of the chemicals I was handling in the labs and during titrations were the raw materials that were being used in things like nail polish and lipsticks and things that are very that go on very sensitive areas of your body. And I sat down and I thought about, at that time I was doing martial arts, mixed martial arts, and I was on the health kick, trying to eat to build muscle, and so I started to look into eating healthier. And I really sat down and I thought, if I'm trying to do all these healthy things and improve my health in this area and that area, what sense does it make putting these things on intimate parts of my body, like my lips that I lick constantly, or my eyes that are really sensitive, they you see with them. What would I do if my eyes stopped working the way they should? Or I get certain diseases from these chemicals seeping through my pores when my pores are open, or when I'm sweaty and there's a barrier that it can pass through the skin. I started to think about these things, and that was the first time I realized that it matters what I put on my body. So I really, really was shocked that I never noticed this before, being so involved more than 7 years in chemistry class, and in college doing these things, and everyone's wearing makeup and no one's stopping to think about this. And I one day I was handling, I think it was cyclohexane, and I was looking at all the things that they were saying about it and how dangerous it was to handle without gloves and so on. And I went home and I checked my products. At that time I was using those big brands, and I was just shocked because cyclohexane was in some of the products that I was using. Now, if you have a background in chemistry, your argument might be that some types of mixtures make these compounds inert. Sometimes when you mix two compounds together, you end up with a less reactive compound. But I settled on the fact that I really didn't want to depend on that kind of thing and risk, getting sick by putting these things on my skin and my body, my lips, my hair, my face, So that was the first time I realized that makeup was not something that I would want to do. It was not something I wanted to continue putting on my body. And then I started to use the natural things, and I started to look for alternatives to make my own makeup. So I started making my own makeup. I mixed up the coconut oil and beet juice and all these different powders, and after a while I started to get stronger in prayer and talking to the Lord and listening to his voice. And I realized, like, one day I was sitting down and I was getting ready to go out to lunch with my family. We usually have a lot of reunions in the Caribbean, lots of hanging out with each other and so on. Family is really tight-knit in some parts of the world, So I was getting ready to go out and I was all dressed up, and I started to put my homemade powder on my face. And I just sat there and I thought, why am I putting a mixture of cocoa powder and cornstarch on my face? Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this to myself? Why can't I just be me? Why can't I just look nice in my clothes and do my hair right and just be okay with that? So I felt very silly mixing those things up and trying to put it on my face when I really had no reason to do that. Apart from looking attractive and, looking presentable to other people, I could do it in other ways instead of mixing things up and going out of my way and wasting my time on that kind of stuff that really wasn't necessary in my case. So that was pretty much my journey to not wearing makeup. It was was not so much a self-image, self-accepting kind of thing. It was more for health reasons, and the fact that I spent so much of my time dealing with dangerous chemicals, and I knew that they were putting them into the products, and even if the compounds were not harmful or not reactive after they mixed it all in, I did not want to risk putting that on my body and messing myself up. I have enough to deal with being all shot up with vaccines, so I don't want another thing to deal with, okay, in terms of my health and my body. And that was pretty much how I came away from the whole makeup situation. And the growth that I've experienced is exponentially, it's amazing. You know, I started to really, the growth has happened, the spiritual growth and personal growth has happened very slowly, but as I grow in understanding what kind of nature the Lord expects from me and what kind of behavior the Lord expects from me, it kind of happened hand in hand with that. Like the self-image growth happened hand in hand with realizations that the Lord has given me in terms of growing my character. In the next video, I'm going to focus a little bit more on how you can grow in your character, and I might mention the points that I've made in this video also. So I hope to see you there in the next video. I know that I can't literally see you right now, but I hope that these messages and these videos really help you to consider your journey with the Lord and your personal growth and the things that you allow or do not allow in your life, and that you can see what happens or what I have experienced in my journey and walk with Christ, and you can kind of make a little comparison at the about the place that you are at right now with Him. Some of you may be further along than I am. I really appreciate your tips if you are further along than I am, or if you are older than I am, you older sisters out there. If you have any tips for me, I'd appreciate it. You know, I don't get upset if someone tries to give me some points, but I do get upset if I see the person is not doing it in the right way, and I'm trying to improve that too. Okay, you guys be blessed and have a great day today. Bye.